successful Amazon Fresh will be in the Australian market. But maybe, just maybe, we can help you with a strategic market entry into the Australian environment. But before we do that, let's have a look at how we're going to take you through this journey. We're first going to look at the problem to date in the Australian online grocery market, look at some potential solutions, have a look at a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that Amazon brings to the market, a strategy leveraging on those opportunities, and potentially a time frame for when Amazon Fresh will best enter the market. And finally, a contact should you want to take this project to the next phase, of which you likely will. But first of all, the problem. Yes, the problem is an American in Australia. This is difficult because Australia is not an easy country to do business. If anything, quite harsh. But before we enter the Australian market, let's have a look at where Amazon's coming from in the first place. So, started in 2017 in the US market with a strong fulfillment supply chain model, established partnerships with grocery providers, low delivery windows, and a strong web platform and a subscription model allowing members to purchase groceries online. Moving on to the United Kingdom, then to Germany. That's about it. But Amazon, the parent company, the brand, the strongest brand that's been built over the last 25 years, is also in Canada, in Mexico, in Turkey, in India, and in Singapore, and slowly trying to build up its presence in Australia. The parent company in this particular equation is important with respect to brand propositioning. If you do decide to enter the Australian market anytime soon, have a think about what you're bringing to the segmentation here. Are we giving Australians a seamless end-to-end experience online, a shopping experience online, and building on a platform obsessing over the customer, predicting the behaviors by using the AI, the analytics, and the data built over the years to deliver on promises? Definitely something worth considering. But to understand the market you're coming into, let's have a look at what your strategic intent might be in here. This is Australia again. According to IBIS, the Australian grocery market is worth over $108 billion. Of that, 2.8% make up the online grocery chain, and it's expected to grow to 4.3% over the next few years. The incumbents have a strong foothold in the Australian market, though. They have strong food supply chain relationships, established logistics. They have an advantage being physically close to consumers and having an online presence. And from what we know about the difficulties of doing business in Australia, it's very labor intensive to start an online business and any online grocery chain here, and very expensive, as was elaborated by the Productivity Commission not too long ago. So it makes it hard for people to come in here and do business if you don't know how we operate. And plus, we're a funny bunch of people here. We like our things quite specific, and we don't switch very easily. We're actually a lazy bunch. So there's quite a few things you need to think about Amazon Fresh if you're going to be targeting this particular market. So there's a couple of things to think about. And look, whilst the incumbents have a strong foothold in the market, there are gaps. And we found some gaps. We undertook a bit of research to work out our segmentation, who the consumers were, what you would be targeting, and how you'd be positioning your brand. We did some empathy maps, some user personas, customer journeys to work out the online grocery market and where the gaps were. And there were gaps, especially in the delivery model. The consumers, the segmentation that Amazon Fresh should be thinking about is your jugglers, what they call jugglers, your part-time mom doing the shopping, who doesn't want to do the shopping, your full-time working mom who has no time to go to the store, your yuppies who want their time back, don't like shopping, and the muppies, my favorite. Those young men from the ages of 25 to 49 are the largest growing consumer group. The marketing, the target for these segments has to be specific. It's giving these guys back their time so they don't have to go shopping. In fact, the shopping trolley becomes redundant. Parents can spend more time with their children. They don't want to go to the shops anymore these days. And finally, you can make this man happy by giving him his food so he doesn't have to spend time in the shops while he's on Tinder and going on dates. This is important. They're the largest growing consumer group in the online market, especially with meal kits and having not to think about their cooking or food. So quickly, with a SWOT analysis, the strengths for Amazon Fresh are the platform. There's no infrastructure, unfortunately, so that's a big weakness. The opportunities are leveraging on the parent company, the A to Z offering of Amazon. And finally, the threats are your Coles and your Woolworths, the 50% almost of the grocery market and the online market as well. Plus, they have a heavy infrastructure investment on infrastructure. So finally, the 7Ps, what to think about when you're moving into Australia. We did a bit of analysis some time ago to work out through Porter's 5 forces, through the Wardley maps, the business canvas model, and subscription models, what is the best way to enter the Australian market. We used the 7Ps and came up with the following. We're only going to be looking at a few. But due to high infrastructure costs, competition in the online grocery market is very high. Amazon Fresh would be competing in the same consumer base with a product variety that's not too dissimilar. Customers will also be comparing prices online. So we felt for Amazon Fresh to come in here, they have to be attached to the parent company because the switching cost for the consumer in the early phases is not much. The product offering for Amazon Fresh and to the Australian consumer is a subscription model, and we recommend to start looking at supplying dry goods and staples to that Australian consumer, those goods that are not perishable. Place was probably the strongest positioning for Amazon Fresh, where consumers go to buy the product. Amazon Fresh, with the assistance from the parent company again, Amazon.com, have built a digital platform that has the potential to provide the right product to the right customer at the right time and in the right quantity. Through the customer journey maps, interviews, the Wardley business model, Amazon Fresh can create a strong competitive online market through their e-commerce platform. This is really important, is to build up on that platform. Currently, 65% of consumers in the Australian market are already buying in Amazon.com. The potential here is only going to grow. And finally, based on that, promotion. Amazon has got the potential to promote its branding and products through social media, through Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and websites through that model, and also building up on their consumer database, along with the messaging, again, as we spoke earlier, targeted to those particular consumer groups. The online platform here for Amazon Fresh is really important when they're starting to make their entry into the Australian market. And when, Amazon? Unfortunately, it's not going to be aggressive, and it's not going to be quick. Over the next few years, it's highly recommended that you spend time learning about your consumer through your subscription models, learning about their behaviors, partnering with Metcash and Australia Post, building on those partnerships so you can have that last mile delivery fulfillment. And over time, start small with building your dark stores and then slowly scale up when the time is ready. Let's not forget Amazon Fresh. There is still risk into this. So before jumping in, a couple of things to consider. Australian consumers hesitate to adopt new online grocery experiences when they're not currently satisfied with the incumbents. So based on the information we've just provided you, we've given you an opportunity to go into the market very, very slowly to learn a bit more about your consumer and your target markets. So we don't want to have an unsuccessful entry here or the risk of low adoption and the poor last mile delivery. Finally, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me.